Alright, so today we are joined by Six. If you have not yet hit that red button down below, definitely be sure to do that and then go check out Six's channel. And let's jump straight into it. Before we just jump straight into it, I just wanted to kind of put out there that I didn't think that Naruto and Sasuke were really going to stand a chance going in there. I definitely have to say that because people are definitely going to point it out if I don't mention that I didn't think that they were going to win going into this. But again, the more I thought about it, the more interesting the fight kind of became. So the Otsutsuki that we're going to be using are Kaguya, post-rebirth, not the hypothetical Prime versus Hagoromo. Toneri without the Tenseigan. Urashiki, Kinshiki, Momoshiki, not transformed because he can absorb Kinshiki because he's here. It wouldn't make sense to have him already transformed when Kinshiki's like standing right there. And Isshiki after his reincarnation into the Jigen vessel, because it's kind of hard to determine exactly how powerful he is without using that vessel. And we're not really going to be talking about, Hagoromo, Hamura, Indra, and Ashura, right? So kind of like, again, I just wanted to go over each of the individual threats before we exactly discuss what would happen if they were to fight right off the bat. So like starting with Toneri, what do you think would happen if they were to encounter Toneri, and how much do you think Toneri poses a threat to Naruto and Sasuke?
Toneri is just essentially no threat, just being honest. Like Naruto in the last he just one-shot him. Like Toneri even admits it was just a clean one-shot. So you could just like imply that throughout the whole fight Naruto was holding back or like stalling, and then he can just end Toneri in one shot.
Yeah, exactly. Even going into their fight, you can see that he's not going all out, because you can see that he's using some variation of KCM with the stage mode, not his 6-pass stage mode, because he's got the pigmentation around the eyes. You can also see that he's holding back because he reverts back to his base form right before hitting Toneri with the final blow. His fist kind of turns yellow, so it looks like all the chakra kind of went to his fists. And I think even the light novel variation of this fight says that he didn't even use any jutsus or skills anymore, just one fist was enough, and he smashed Toneri into the wall. And again, like you said, Toneri kind of admits that he was defeated in one blow. So overall, this for the most part poses a very low difficulty for Naruto and Sasuke, especially together with the fact that Naruto has more powerful abilities and transformations at his disposal. Like he could have hit him with a Rasengan as a final blow, but he chose not to use any jutsus or even skills for that matter, because just one fist was enough. He wasn't that much of a threat in the first place.
Like if people want to talk about Sasuke versus Toneri, World brought up the last novel, and in the last novel it does say that Sasuke is the strongest member of Team 7 thus far, so he'd just do the same thing to him. It's just Toneri's just not a problem right now.
Exactly. If Sasuke was to fight him individually, it would pretty much be the same thing. Toneri's not really all that. Moving a little bit up the ladder, we got Urashiki. Now, the thing with Urashiki is that he's not really very prevalent in the manga at all, for that matter. But he does have a couple of feats here and there in the anime. Like he did end up, beating a no-eyed Toneri by turning him to stone. But the thing is that he lost to a kid Naruto and Boruto during that time travel arc when they went back in time. And the thing is that I kind of refuse to believe that it was just Naruto and Boruto that kind of took him out with that, combined Rasengan with the Jubi cloak, because that's obviously, it doesn't really seem like it'd be enough to take down Otsutsuki. But it's also worthy to note that he was hit by a Kirin from Sasuke, which is one of Sasuke's more powerful jutsus. But this was a Sasuke who wasn't using most of his Rinnegan abilities, and this was a Sasuke who was also passed out 2 seconds ago because he was drained of all his chakra, and the only reason he was awake was because the kid Sakura gave the adult Sasuke all her chakra, and obviously we know that kid Sakura doesn't have a lot of chakra. So just using that little chakra that he got from her, he used the Kirin, which was able to contribute into taking out this Otsutsuki level threat, even after he was transformed. Also, Jiraiya was there as well, but again, I think we can mainly contribute the most damage to Sasuke here because he's the greatest threat to the Otsutskis. So again, he's more like low difficulty. He's just kind of sneaky. He also has the chakra rod, which he can use to steal people's chakra. He's just a very sneaky character, but overall he doesn't have insane durability. He doesn't do an insane amount of damage. In comparison to the other Otsutskis on the list, he doesn't really seem to pose that big of a threat, especially given the fact that he was taken out by this Sasuke and Boruto, and Sasuke, who wasn't even really at his best, as we clearly see by the fact that he was like passed out 2 seconds ago.
You address this because I know someone's gonna bring it up. There is this statement from, I think it's a V-Jump guide, that says Urashiki is said to be the strongest Otsutsuki. To go along with the things that World just mentioned about him losing to the kid Naruto, the fatigued Sasuke, all of that, and that statement, since it says said to be, the statement that the people, whoever are making the statement, could just not be true. Like whoever is saying that he is, just clearly doesn't know the power of the other Otsutsukis.
Yeah, it's like one of those. It's kind of like to hype them up. You know what I mean? Like whenever you have like a new movie or something for like and you're introducing a new villain, you want to kind of hype up these characters. So you kind of gonna say whatever you're gonna say to make these characters seem a little bit more stronger than they are. But obviously, it's clear by the events of what actually happened in the last that Toneri wasn't as strong as we really hyped him up to be, and especially in this fight, which we're not really including the Tensegon, he was defeated in his Tensegon chakra mode by the Naruto who was in his base. So that just kind of goes to show that, you know, he's not really all that. Obviously, he is an Otsutsuki, and he should be considered as an Otsutsuki level threat, but when you're comparing them to people such as like Naruto and Sasuke, the amount of difficulty doesn't really add up. You know what I mean? He's not very high up there, especially when comparing him to these later Otsutskis that I'm gonna get into in a second. The next one, moving on to the list, is Kaguya. What do you think about Kaguya and her threat that he poses to them right now as an adult?
It's just none, bro. Like, honestly, like, I would think that Kaguya would pose some sort of a threat if she still had like the dominating effect that the warping ability gave her. But now that Sasuke can just move through space times, like, it's like she almost just has nothing. Like, there's a stronger Naruto, Sasuke who she can't remove. It's just like she's just gonna lose this time, I feel like.
Exactly. So as we already know, you know, she was sealed away because Naruto and Sasuke, because they're Sun and Moon Seal. But the thing is that we've already seen characters who are proven to be stronger than her, and we've already seen them, Naruto and Sasuke, beat people that technically already outscale her with like Momoshiki and Kinshiki, which we're gonna get into in a second. And due to, you know, basic power scaling, again, it's like you take someone from, like, for example, like Dragon Ball, you have like Goku versus Frieza in the beginning of the franchise, and then you take him, that same Frieza, and you take Goku at the end of the franchise, you pin them against each other, and it's not even going to be close. You know what I mean? It's going to be very similar in this scenario when you take Naruto and Sasuke, you know, all the way after they become adults, after they complete more training, get more powerful. You know, Naruto gets, you know, both halves of Kurama, and then you just take them all the way back to Kaguya. It's not going to be really too much of an issue. I'd say probably a little bit low to mid difficulty. Probably it could be a greater threat than Toneri and Urashiki potentially, but still, either way, they would all be low to mid difficulty at this point in time.
Yeah, we like agree it's like approaching the mid difficulty, but it's like it's in the low difficulty range with Kaguya because of just like the regeneration and things like that. And even if Sasuke can like teleport through her dimensions, like I said, it still uses a lot of chakra for him to do that. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely like approaching the mid difficulty range with Kaguya.
Yep, low to mid difficulty. Now, as we're getting up there, it's going to become a little bit more and more difficult. We're approaching Kinshiki, Momoshiki, and Isshiki, right? So for Kinshiki, we know that there is that statement by Sasuke where he states that, you know, Kinshiki and Momoshiki are traits greater than that of Kaguya. So using statements like that, we can try to scale him above Kaguya, if not around the same, you know, ranking as each other. The thing is that we already saw Kinshiki face off against an adult Sasuke. This was before he was going all out, before he was trying, and that is when he says that they're threats above Kaguya. You know what I mean? Before they go all out. And then we see what they do against the Kage and how they kind of mess all the Kage up. Is there anything else you want to say about Kinshiki before we move on to Momoshiki?
No, it's just implied like Sasuke would beat him at full power. I definitely think if you say that Sasuke scales to Naruto, which is like heavily implied throughout the narrative, that Sasuke at full power would just beat Kinshiki up. Because Naruto should be stronger than the other four Kage, right?
Yeah.
The other four Kage, and you know, them together with Sasuke just beat Kinshiki up and sealed him away. So Sasuke at full power should definitely just like run through Kinshiki. Exactly.
He himself has not shown to be insane. I mean, this is again, I'm kind of saying that taking into consideration the threats that he's against here, Naruto and Sasuke. Obviously, he's an insane threat when you compare him to, you know, all the people from Shippuden, all the non-six path level characters. But again, as you approach these much more powerful characters, he doesn't really become as relevant, and he more becomes someone that is kind of used by Momoshiki to get stronger, which is the perfect transition into Momoshiki, who the thing with Momoshiki is, again, much like Kinshiki, Momoshiki was in base when Naruto stated that, or sorry, Sasuke stated that they're threats above that of Kaguya, right? So we know that already Momoshiki in base should already scale to around that power. We know that Momoshiki also has the Rinnegan, and later on when he absorbs Kinshiki, we see that Momoshiki is able to kind of definitely outscale the Kage, but is still defeated and comes short when it comes to the adult Naruto and Sasuke. And this is a Momoshiki who was was already absorbing Naruto's chakra for a while. So if anything, Momoshiki should be a little bit stronger here, you know, after getting a boost from Kinshiki. And if anything, Naruto should be a little bit weaker, but even then, Momoshiki still loses in terms of battle power, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, something interesting about Momoshiki, I heard you called him she there by mistake. You know, he's like canonically pretty. Like when he shows up in the novelization of the Boruto movie, Naruto calls Momoshiki pretty. Like he thinks he's cute. It's funny.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, honestly, like I completely forgot there for a second because I'm like, wait, hold up. Do you have like long hair? Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's referred to as a he. I don't know. So yeah, all right. So last one, the big one, right? Isshiki. So when people brought about this question to me, I think I also posted this question if people really wanted me to cover it, and they did. But a lot of people were commenting that the thing is that Isshiki would kind of slap Naruto and Sasuke, because we're talking about Isshiki after he's already reincarnated using the Jigen vessel, which should be a little bit stronger than him using the Jigen vessel himself. You know what I mean? And as we see, which was recently animated, which is why a lot of people are pointing this out, in the fight from Jigen against Naruto and Sasuke, he does kind of shred them to bits. You know, he's like slapping them around. You know, I honestly, I was getting kind of emotional watching that fight. It was super sad to see them just get slapped around. You know, I saw it in the manga, but I just did not expect it to be that bad. But
yeah, he just ragdolling them. Like, it was awful. Like when he kicked through Sasuke Susanoo, obviously when you first see it in the manga, it's like, oh my god, like you just went right through it. And then you see it in the anime, he kicks through the Susanoo, but then not just that, the whole head of the Susanoo explodes.
Yeah, it just pops.
And then same thing to the Kurama avatar. It's insane. He's just too powerful. And then Amato says that if he's able to reincarnate fully into this Jigen vessel, it's just going to be the end of the world. Like, they're not going to be able to do anything against him. And then he reincarnates into that, and they go fight him, and he's just slapping everyone around until obviously we bring out Baryon.
Yeah, exactly. So we agree that Isshiki is an insane threat that they're not really able to even compete with without using, you know, Baryon mode. They tried everything. When you compare the fight with Jigen and Naruto and Sasuke versus the one with Momoshiki and Naruto and Sasuke, I actually watched those fights right after each other, and then you can really see the difference when Naruto and Sasuke are really trying their hardest versus them kind of, you know, toying with Momoshiki a little bit. You know, at the end of the fight, Naruto's kind of like, come here, Boruto, like, let me see your hand. Here, take this giant Rasengan and throw it at that guy. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't really taking Momoshiki seriously towards the end of the fight. But with Jigen, they tried everything. You know, Sasuke even tried, you know, Amaterasu at one point. You know, when they're pinned down, Naruto even uses shadow clones in his base because there's nothing else that they can really do. You know what I mean? They've been exhausted of all their chakra. But that that is all not including the Baryon mode form, right? It's actually stated in the manga by Kurama himself once Naruto transforms that Baryon mode, that they have more chakra, that they're more powerful than Isshiki once they enter Baryon mode, right? And again, they seem to kind of like cancel each other out. So the only way that Naruto and Sasuke can kind of compete in this fight against all the Otsutskis, especially with such a tank like Isshiki, is if kind of Naruto takes Baryon mode out pretty soon, because otherwise they're just gonna get slapped around, utterly overwhelmed, especially with somebody like Isshiki, which is blatantly more powerful than them unless they transform, right?
Right.
So is there anything else you want to add before I continue with Isshiki?
Yeah. So do we agree, like, if Naruto enters Baryon mode when all the Otsutsukis come at him, it's likely they still lose because he'll probably get burnt out of it very fast?
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Actually, I'll consider that. I try to find the best timing for it, right? For them to when will be the best time for them to activate Baryon mode? Because even if, you know, Naruto and Isshiki kind of cancel out, that's gonna leave Sasuke by himself. Like, Naruto's not gonna die because we know that the form doesn't kill him, it kills Kurama. But either way, he's gonna be incapacitated for a long period of time, and he's not gonna be able to fight. And when he is able to fight, he's going to be significantly weaker. So that's going to leave Sasuke to kind of fend for himself. So again, if they were to be able to compete, I was thinking that, you know, again, Naruto would need to take it out. They'd kind of need to face the Otsutskis together at first. Hopefully Naruto kind of, you know, slaps Toneri with his cock in the middle of the fight, and then Toneri just dies, you know, hits the wall, dies, splat. And then again, we know that Urashiki died by a curing of a very, very weak Sasuke. So hopefully he won't be very much of an issue, him and Kaguya maybe, because we know that they're scaling way above Kaguya. So I'm thinking the main threats are going to be Momoshiki and Kinshiki here. Again, maybe they won't be able to take them out, you know, as fast as before Baryon mode. wears off. But I think the ultimate threats that it's going to come down to is not necessarily Isshiki, because I think him and Naruto are kind of going to exhaust each other out. You know, they're both going to end up being taken out of the fight. I think it's going to end up being maybe Sasuke versus probably Momoshiki, Kinshiki, and Kaguya together. If Momoshiki ends up absorbing Kinshiki again, then it's going to be more like a fused Momoshiki versus a Kaguya. So I think it might come down to that. Again, because the Otsutsuki's have pure numbers, this is not necessarily exactly how it would happen. I'm trying to give Naruto and Sasuke the benefit of the doubt here, considering, you know, the power of Baryon mode, because that's kind of what they're leaning on here. But if that were the case, honestly, it could go either way, because the thing is that Sasuke by himself will probably be able to take out Kaguya, but with the addition of a fused Momoshiki right there without the backup of Naruto, that might become a little bit more difficult and more difficult to be possible. You know what I mean? So if they were to win, I'd probably say the Otsutsuki's win like 8 out of 10 times. You know, just because of the fact that right off the bat, Isshiki is way stronger, and they have clear numbers, and they're all Otsutsuki level threats. Even if some of them are low to mid difficulty, as a whole, they're all going to be very, very difficult to beat. And I'd say probably Naruto and Sasuke win like 2 out of 10 times. With the Baryon mode, they definitely have significantly higher chances. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything. All that was how I think it would go. I think if we were to do it more like gauntlet style, like one after another, Naruto and Sasuke win. They just activate Baryon mode like right when they get to Isshiki. Just if Naruto tires Isshiki out, I think Sasuke could finish him off like Kawaki did.
Yeah. The thing is that I feel like if this fight, like narratively speaking, like how the characters actually act, right? I feel like Isshiki would try to stay back a little bit, because he's the only one where we're using him in his vessel, right? Because we haven't seen him at his full potential. He obviously it's him, but like reincarnates himself into Jigen's body. So as a result, you know, his lifespan isn't that long, and the more he fights, you know, the weaker he gets. And Baryon mode obviously impacts that. It reduces that even more. So I feel like he would try to stay back a little bit, but if they have a chance of winning, they're gonna need to take that engagement early on, because if they don't and they wait till the end, you know what I mean, they're gonna be kind of maybe exhausted after fighting all these Otsutsukis. By the end, facing Isshiki, they're gonna get blown out of the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing with Baryon mode in the manga is that Naruto didn't necessarily use Baryon mode on a full tank, right? So the way that Baryon mode works is because we know that it's kind of like nuclear fusion stated by Kurama. It's kind of combining their chakras to create a new chakra. But obviously, you can hypothesize that once you're at a full tank, you know what I mean, you're full chakra, you're fully invigorated, you're not weakened at all, you're probably going to keep Baryon mode lasting a little bit longer than if you were already in a fight. You know what I mean? Your life force, your chakra is going to be drained a little bit, so you're not going to be able to keep that form up for as long, and as a result, you're not going to be able to take out as many Otsutskis and maybe just lose the fight. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Anything else you want to add before I close out?
No, man, I agree with you completely. Like I said, the only real way I see them winning the fight is the gauntlet style, like I said. But if they just jump them, it's pretty much just GG.
Honestly, I don't know. I think it would actually be a pretty interesting fight, and I would like to see it. But obviously, it's a fight we're not really ever gonna get to see. But anyways, I'm glad we agree, and I hope that clears things up.